I want to encourage you, okay? I know some of you on here are successful entrepreneurs. I think of Angelo. I think of Christina. I think of a number of you that tune in regularly, but I know some of you as well are just getting started or maybe haven't even started on your entrepreneurial journey, but you're educating yourselves. So my goal is to encourage you all right now. And so I'm going to condense the last 4 or 5 years into 10 or 15 minutes and tell you guys about how I went from, well, why don't I just start the story? How about that? How about that? Okay, so this goes back to 2011. And in 2011, I was just about at the decade mark of my career in law enforcement. And while I loved the work and law enforcement was something I was called into, I felt called into and just really derived a lot of purpose from that work. And I'm a purpose-driven person. So I got a lot of satisfaction that way from my career, but what I wasn't happy with was that my family was still living check to check, and 10 years into what's supposed to be a real bona fide career, you know, you're highly trained, you're a professional, I was not making enough money to make ends meet. Our financial ship as a family was slowly sinking, and I could see problems on the horizon financially. And also, there was a lack of freedom because of the fact that my finances weren't where I wanted them to be, and my career had not developed to where I had pictured it being. I was not in an administrative level. I hadn't even promoted. And, I just wasn't happy with the way things were. So I took stock of the situation, and one day what made me really mad and made me really start thinking about it was I was working a 14-hour shift. I had worked all night long. The sun was coming up, so I'd seen the sunset. I saw the sun rise. I still wasn't home, and I was thinking how I should be at home in bed, and I just didn't like the situation I was in. And then I was cruising through one of the nice neighborhoods of town on morning patrol, trying to not get into anything so that I could leave work on time as planned in the morning. And I drove by a wealthy individual's house and saw this guy. He was actually a key city representative or a city government member who made a lot more money than me, and I saw him putting on his artificial putting green that he'd had installed on his backyard. And I immediately became furious because the thought that I had to myself was, I know that I am more capable than that person and can add more value to the world than that person. I didn't have a high opinion of the guy. I was like, I'm way more capable, but yet he's making 3 times the money I am, and he has the freedom to be on his putting green on a Saturday morning when I should have that freedom too. And I just became furious. And I believe that by God's divine providence and intervention, about that time, an ad came on the radio for a Get Motivated seminar in Kansas City. And I was so broke at that point that I could not afford the tickets to that seminar. But towards the end, see, this is how they set up these, marketing to get you into these events. Towards the end of that radio commercial, they said, if you're worried about not being able to afford it, just bring 3 of your friends, and if at least 4 of you come, then you can get your tickets at $1 a piece. And I thought, well, I can come up with $4. So I got my wife at the time and a friend of mine who would become my business partner and his wife, and the 4 of us went to this Get Motivated seminar, and that's where the journey began. And at that seminar, a lot of my beliefs were challenged. I learned a lot of things that were counterintuitive to the way I'd been raised and the principles of making money and investing money, and it challenged me, and I resolved that I was going to start a business, was the first thing, and then that business was probably going to be in real estate, because I just resolved that real estate was the path for me. And so we started in 2011, and for 9 months I made absolutely no money, and I worked furiously to close deals, and I closed no deals for 9 months. And I got extremely discouraged during that time. I had perfect credit at the time. Even though we were struggling to pay bills, I had never missed any payments, been late or anything. I had perfect credit. I leveraged that perfect credit to get cash out of credit cards because that was the only way I could access capital quickly. And that was one of the things taught at one of the educational seminars I went to. So I spent somewhere in the neighborhood between $20,000 and $40,000 that first year, and ultimately about $40,000 in the first 2 years to get educated, and I did all that borrowing on credit cards. So I traveled the country, went to seminars, got an education, got one-on-one coaching and mentoring, learned everything I could about real estate. I also learned about trading, and I went forward and just started doing things. And so I started trading options. You guys, if you were on my Periscope a couple weeks back, you heard my story about making and losing a tremendous amount of money very quickly, like in a week or 2 weeks' time, trading options. That's a crazy story, a sub-story to this overall entrepreneurial story that I won't get into details right now, but suffice it to say I explored different avenues of making money and I had my fair share of failures. After 9 months in the real estate game, I finally did my first sale of a property. I did what's called wholesaling, and I actually sold a property that I never went to. It was a house in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. I still know the address in my head, and I will never forget it. You never forget your first deal. You never forget your first check. But yeah, I sold a house in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania that I'd never been to, never seen. I did it from the comfort of home in the home office in my pajamas, literally made about $600 for about an hour of my time. And I realized at that point that this was real and that you could create an income out of thin air. You could create additional streams of income in your life if you just equipped yourself with the knowledge and the requisite skills and went to work and believed in what you didn't yet see. That was the lesson in that for me. However, it took 9 months, and what you don't understand maybe is that those 9 months I was losing sleep every night. I was sacrificing time with my family. I was working my tail off to get educated. I was staying up late nights to watch webinars and teleseminars. I was submitting offers and contracts and seeking out deals and building contacts and networking with people. 9 months for no results. Okay? So, first lesson in my story and what I want to encourage you with, if you're getting started or if you've been pushing for a long time, understand the results probably won't come immediately. And you will have to work for a long time without seeing immediate results. That is probably how it will play out. Learn to trust the process and embrace the process, and don't quit. Do not quit. Do you hear me? If you have a dream and a vision and you believe in what you're doing and you know that you can bring the world value and you know in yourself, within you, that you have the ability because you have value and you can create income, then do not quit, okay? And don't get discouraged because the results don't come right away. I won't quit. Good. Thank you. All right, so that's the first part of the story. I got into affiliate marketing as well because I noticed as I was meeting people on LinkedIn and through other channels and in investor associations and whatnot, I found that in addition to people needing real estate deals, in addition to people having deals that they needed to sell, there was a significant demographic out there that needed financing. And so I actually was approached by a recruiter with a financing company out of Los Angeles, and they successfully recruited me, and I became an affiliate for them. And I actually, those first couple of years, because I had really mastered networking on LinkedIn, I was able to make a significant sum of money very quickly. I actually won a couple nationwide contests they had for lead generation and closed more deals in a 60-day time frame than any of their other affiliates around the country at that time. So I had massive success in that for a short time, made several $1,000s. And again, was affirmed in my belief that I could create income out of thin air. However, here comes the next lesson. That all came to an end in 24 hours when LinkedIn sent an email announcing that they were changing their policies on posting. And immediately, all of the affiliate links that I had been posting, everything was shut down, pulled off of LinkedIn. And I went from having a business that was generating nearly 300 leads per week to 12. 300 to 12, just like that overnight. That entire business got shut down overnight after I had made several checks, was making thousands of dollars doing that, thinking I'm going to be able to quit my day job, life's going to be great. So here's the next lesson. As an entrepreneur, you absolutely must understand that the market can change, forces can change, anything can change. That's why email is important. I'm assuming, Heather, you're saying an email list or keeping contact with people and continuing to build your network. But anyway, yes, absolutely. And actually, I had been building a list and keeping in contact with those people via email so that when this time came around, which I never could have predicted, and I didn't know this already, okay? I didn't inherently know this as a, some sort of entrepreneur that had it all figured out from the start, but it ended up being a blessing to me. When that business literally went under overnight and I was not able to continue generating leads and generating deals for financing, my affiliate deals, that was all right because I had an entire group of people that I'd kept in contact with via emails. And by offering those people value, by sharing the knowledge that I was paying tens of thousands of dollars to learn. I told you I spent about $20,000 to $40,000 on that education the first year, and by the second year it definitely was about $40,000 I'd spent. Well, I took all that and shared it with people for free. And so those people stuck with me, and I still have that list of people with me today, and it grows every day. And so that was the next lesson that I learned was, first of all, have to be innovative, have to understand that things can change in an instant, and you need to maintain your relationships and continue to connect with people that you want to do business with, and continue to connect with your ideal customers, and keep that group of people with you, and keep doing business together, keep the relationships up. And if you don't do business right away with those folks, don't worry about it. Continue to be friends, continue to add value to each other's lives, and you never know when down the road you'll have the chance to work together. So, had some success with real estate wholesaling, had some success with online affiliate marketing, then that ran into a brick wall for me. Not saying that's not a good business model, it is. You can certainly plug into that niche and make a killing. However, I also learned that it wasn't my first choice. It just wasn't. So I continued what I was doing with real estate, came up with my partners with by that time I was, a year and a half into the business. A family member stepped forward that trusted me and said, I want to be a private lender. I've got this cash sitting on the side. I know you're in real estate. You're getting an education. You've done deals. You've been entrepreneurial for this last year and a half, and you've had some success. I'm going to trust you with my money. What do you propose for the terms on a rate of return, and what do you want to do with it? And so I pitched back to that person, the rate of return that I proposed and how we would use the money. And that was the key to starting to pick up rental properties. So my partners and I, we took what we had left as far as availability in cash on credit cards. We pulled that out in cash advances. We took the private lender's money and we plugged that all together into an LLC, and we went about acquiring properties. So we bought our first couple rental properties. And then once we had them fixed up and cash flowing, we turned around, we went to a local bank, we refinanced them on a commercial portfolio loan because we had done our numbers right and our due diligence, and we worked the deals right. We had equity in those houses that we were able to pull out, and we took the money that we got from the refinance, we paid back the private lender, we paid back the credit cards, went and did that several times over and built a portfolio of properties. In the middle of this, my wife left me. This would have been the end of 2012, beginning of 2013. I suddenly found myself in a position where I went from 2 paychecks to 1, and now my monthly personal financial situation went from treading water to literally negative. I was in the hole every month, more than $1,000 every month. And so I found myself in a personal foreclosure, in a divorce. Many, many things were uncertain. And here I was, after just treading water with my finances and trying to run a successful business, several successful businesses. Now I was in this personal muck and mire of a divorce. And any that are on this that have been through one of those, you know exactly what I'm talking about. I won't belabor those details, but I will tell you, suffice it to say, I was depressed. I felt I had really no options. I felt that I was a failure. I felt like giving up completely on my businesses and on my life. And the thing that saved me out of that, I shouldn't say the thing, but I had always been what I would call a man of faith. I believe in God. I believe in Jesus. I trust God with my future. And that trust and faith was really challenged at that time in my life. And you begin to understand what's really important when all the things in life that you thought you had and could take for granted are just gone, when the rug gets pulled out from under you. And if you read Success Magazine or Inc. or any of those entrepreneurial magazines, if you do any personal development and hear the stories of other entrepreneurs, you will find the common thread that all of us have been through incredible challenges. And so for me, divorce was a part of that story and a part of those incredible challenges. And so I literally, just mentally, I lost it. I lost the mindset that it is required to run a successful business. And I really thought everything was going to go under and I was going to lose everything. But I did one thing right. And that was I realized I wasn't in control. And so I spent a lot of time asking God for help. I spent a lot of time on my knees. And I literally, guys, I know this may sound unbelievable. I literally prayed my way to each check for 8 months solid. For 8 months solid, my personal budget was in the hole $1,000 every month. And yet somehow every month, without fail, the necessary money came into my personal bank account that allowed me to at least stay afloat so that I could keep a roof over my head and clothes on my back and food in my mouth long enough until I got through that phase of life. Literally, as a matter of fact, and I won't tell you the whole story because I don't want to get off track of the overall entrepreneur story I'm sharing, but literally There was an instance where I was holding bills in my hand on my knees asking God, Lord, I have $910 of bills right here that need paid. I don't have $910. I need $910. And I got up off my knees and I walked out to the mailbox, and I am not kidding you, in my mailbox was a check for $910 from a company that I'd had a marketing agreement with that I had forgotten about. I had links out there that were generating leads, and one of those deals happened to close months and months and months after the fact of me even marketing for them. Answered prayer. And I could tell you at least 15 stories just like that one during that phase of my life where God simply wanted to see from me that I could be faithful, that I could trust him, and that the vision he gave me for my business, which is to be a powerful financial influence for good in this world, that's my vision, that's my mission with my businesses. I think God wanted to test my resolve on that and make sure that I was very clear on the fact that the success of my business is not as a result of me, but as a result of him providing. Now, I know that I have talents, and this is another entrepreneurial lesson for you. I know that I have talents and skills. I know that if I don't do the work, the money doesn't come in. I totally understand that. But here's a philosophy that I've adopted. I work like it depends on me, but I pray like it depends on God. Because here's the thing. Why do I have skills and talents? Well, because God gave them to me. You see, I walk today and I breathe today because God said that that was okay. He made me, and he provided for all of my needs, all the way down to my basic needs of just being able to breathe, to drink water, to eat food, and everything I have on top of that, my cognitive abilities, my physical abilities. He gets all the credit for that. And so anything that those skills and abilities yield in the form of income, that came from God. That's a blessing from his hand. Now with that philosophy and that prerogative and that perspective, it changes everything when you understand you're not the one in control, and it releases you from a lot of pressures that entrepreneurs will subject themselves to needlessly. Okay? I don't have to worry about it. I just know if I pray like it depends on God, follow the vision he gave me, and work like it depends on me, everything falls into line. And in the meantime, it's a process. You have to grow into the person that you're being called to be, to have the business or to fulfill the vision that God has given you for your life. You have to become that person, and it doesn't happen instantly. All right, so moving on. We built that portfolio of properties. I went through my divorce, which was an incredibly, incredibly trying time. That finally wrapped up in the spring of 2014. And since that time, I have seen some amazing, amazing opportunities and amazing visions that I had come to be. I had the opportunity a couple of years ago, or about a year ago, to work with a major firm, a real estate firm here in Kansas City, and do something I always dreamed of. I got to travel the country on somebody else's dime and help them run their business and close multiple deals with them, working different aspects of their business. I was in acquisitions and investor relations and did inspections on rehabs for properties. Amazing opportunity. That partnership didn't work out in the end. However, the experience was unbelievable, and I got to accomplish and do a lot of the things I always dreamed of doing. And I also got to find out that many of those things weren't what I thought they were cracked up to be. And so it taught me, again, to focus on the things that are important, because at the end of the day, you know, when you're not traveling the country, when you're not doing all the extras, what's really important? Well, what's really important is to be able to spend time with my family, with my friends, and to be able to share with people, minister to people, invest in people. Because I'm going to tell you, investing your money and seeing a monetary return, it is a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun to be winning financially. But it's even more fun when you invest in people and watch lives be changed and transformed, which was what got me into my health business. So in addition to doing the real estate business and continuing to work on building a portfolio of rental properties, continuing to sell properties, which is very helpful in the form of active income and getting me towards my financial goals, I've actually gone from having a large sum of six-figure debt to I slashed that in half over the last 18 months now since my divorce. It's been amazing how that's been cut in half. But the reason for that is the real estate deals I've been doing. However, in November of last year, I realized that real estate is very much like this, okay? It's like ups and downs. Like you'll have a really good month, a really good 3 months, and then you could go 3 months with no deals. So I needed a solution to that. So my next business venture was I got into professional networking, and that's where I started my health business last November. And then I found even greater joy and greater purpose in helping people transform their lives physically, emotionally, and for those who decide to join the business, financially. And so I've been doing that, and I have gotten to see an amazing number of people's lives completely transformed, see people restored to a state of health that they never thought would be possible for them again. We have some amazing, amazing transformation stories that have taken place here in Kansas City. And even more than that, I've gotten derived such a great fulfillment of purpose out of working with people together to show them that they actually can have a home business, that they actually can be financially free, that they actually can have time freedom. And the way that that has supplemented my income has been fantastic as well, because now, even on a real estate month where I don't close any deals, I have weekly checks coming in from my home business in networking. So that also was a great lesson in that I learned there is something to be said for not only multiple streams of income, but understanding the difference between active, passive, and residual income. And you should really be setting up streams of all three. Find something you're passionate about that you can produce active income with. Something that requires you to be there, that's active income. Find something you're passionate about that you can do that with. But then in addition to that, because that's not always guaranteed, and you don't know how frequently your clients are going to come in, you need to set up passive and residual streams of income. And the other thing you need to look at is if you're selling a product, is it a consumable? Is it something that people need to come back for every so often to buy more of? Because that is an important part of a sustainable business, is you have to have repeat customers. You want to build a pool of customers that are the same people that you build a relationship with, and they are repeat customers and they keep coming back. So that's what my networking business has accomplished for me. I now have a growing pool of customers, also have a growing team of business members, which that raises your income exponentially because now you're enjoying benefits off of the efforts of other people because you have a stake in their business. I mean, so to speak. You're getting, if they're making commissions off of the business they're doing, then you're getting a portion of that as well. So that was another lesson that I learned was instead of a business model where you're talking one-to-one, like I do one thing which yields 1 unit of pay, you need to really look at business as two things, people and systems. Do I have a system that is duplicable, that can be grown and scaled exponentially? And then do I have people that can be plugged in that are powerful and effective and influential people that can take and apply this same system that I'm doing and do that for themselves? And if you find a business model like that, you found something that's sustainable and you can really grow and you can really run with. So I share all this with you guys to tell you I have not reached the point where I want to be yet. But I went from being dead broke, in foreclosure, depressed, not feeling like I had any options, to last year, 2014 was my first year that I grossed 6 figures, which was in 2011 unfathomable to me that I had that kind of income potential. And this year, 2015, is going to be my second year of grossing 6 figures. And I am so excited that I can actually see within the next year, maybe 2, maybe 3, 7 figures. That's amazing to me. And it's because I've learned some of these lessons that I've shared with you. And of course, there's many, many lessons to learn on business. You should be immersing yourself in self-development and learning as much as you can all the time. I'm always reading one book, one for inspiration and spiritual growth, and then another alongside that for business growth. I'm always reading one of each at any given time. So you should always be working to grow yourself and develop yourself. But I just wanted to share that success is a process, and it's something that's within reach. Believe me, in 2011, if you'd have looked at my life and my situation, you'd have thought the same thing I did, which was how in the world is that guy ever going to create what he has a vision of creating and become a powerful force of financial influence for good in this world? How could he do that? Because that's what I wondered. But I can tell you now that I can see that because I see it happening on a smaller scale. I find myself traveling more. I find myself being able to write the checks to do the things I want to do more. I find myself being able to give more. I find myself having more time with my family, with my friends, and more time freedom. I don't have absolute time freedom. Do you know what absolute time freedom is? That's when you have enough coming in through your business that you don't have to be there for, passive income, that it covers all your living expenses. Once you have enough passive income to cover your living expenses, you have absolute financial freedom. And from there, you can truly dictate your time every single day. But I'm getting more of that. It's in a small degree every month, every 3 months, every 6 months, whatever it is, but I'm getting more and more and more of that, accumulating more of that as I learn how to expand my income more and increase my efficiency with time more. Guys, I've gone way longer than I intended.